Okay then. Hey friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to Wrestle Juice. AEW's Double or Nothing 2022 is in the book, so figured I'd give you my thoughts on the pay-per-view. Originally, I was going to do this video as the best and worst of AEW's Double or Nothing, but I'm looking down this card right here. I'll be honest with you. I don't see a whole lot of worsts, candidates for the worst aspects of the show. I mean, I guess maybe the length of the pay-per-view, but when every match has something to add to the pay-per-view, it's hard to say that that's like a problem. I mean, I am in a unique situation in that over at Going In Raw, we watch the entire show, of course, live with everybody, and then we do a recap afterwards. So it's a little bit more taxing to me, if you can call wrestling podcasting taxing at all. I guess the one spot, the one down point, and it's kind of apropos that we begin here because the last video I did, last minute news and rumors, had to do with MJF and him booking a flight out of Vegas and potentially holding up his match with Wardlow. And to me, that was kind of the low point of the actual pay-per-view. So the match did happen. MJF did show up and they had that match. It feels like that match, though, became an obligation because it was the first one on the card and it lacked, in my opinion, the necessary drama necessary, I said that word twice, to really sort of take advantage of the moment where Wardlow finally gets his on MJF. If you'd put it a little bit further in the card, which I understand they probably didn't because Tony Khan just wanted to get that match out of the way. Didn't want MJF maybe deciding 2 hours into the show, I don't really want to do this. Who wants that on their mind? So you get that on first, you get it out of the way, and you move on. The only problem was at the match itself. So it featured, on paper, it's like, oh, wow, cool. Wardlow got his 10 power bombs on MJF. MJF tried to use the Dynamite Diamond Ring. The thing is, the match was like a really quick match. It was sort of, I mentioned this in the Going In Raw review, it was sort of like a parody of most MJF matches. One thing about his matches that I've never really liked is that they continually go back to the same trope, the Dynamite Diamond Ring. And that's what they did in this case as well, but it was in a way that just lacked any sort of creativity or cleverness. He just, at a certain point, decided to go for the ring. The ref and Wardlow are both watching him. He gets found out. The ref takes the thing from him, and then Wardlow powerbombs himself. There was no Sean Spears. There was nothing else. There was no other twists. It was just straight up like, I don't know, 5 to 7 minutes or so. I'm probably wrong. Maybe it was 10 minutes, but it felt like a really short match that didn't have a lot of story twists and turns, which is what I like in my wrestling matches. To me, it sort of undersold Wardlow's big moment, what should have been his big crowning Batista-esque moment. It sort of robbed him of that. So hopefully they can regain this momentum. MJF got powerbombed 10 times and stretchered out, so he's been written off AEW TV probably for a little bit until he figures out what's going on. Apparently, Sean Ross Sapp did get in contact with MJF via text message, and he had said something to the effect of, I got there right before the match started. I left right after the match ended, and I got to figure things out. So he's going to go dark for a little while. So, maybe the guy just needs to figure out what's going on in his own head, and then we'll go from there with AEW. So beyond that, I thought that the card was actually, everybody was really inspired with all their matches. I did not expect Anarchy in the Arena to be my highlight of the night. It really was. It was a wildly fun match. Eddie Kingston tried to light both Chris Jericho and Bryan Danielson on fire, and they ended up costing his team the match. Bryan Danielson ended up passing out as Chris Jericho had him in like a submission, and Hager was like sort of sticking it to him with one of the turnbuckles. It was a wildly fun match. That was like probably my favorite match of the night. Of course, we have a new AEW World Champion in CM Punk. I mean, 2 videos ago, I kind of called this. Yeah, I was convinced. Evidently, Tony Khan was convinced as well. It seems like there are a lot of very right reasons to have that title on CM Punk right now at this point. Tony Khan in his media scrum after the fact even mentioned that CM Punk is personally responsible for a lot of the financial success recently of the company. So it seems to make all the sense in the world. Where that leads Hangman now to, I don't know, but it's a good story beat for him to have to sort of pick up the pieces of his own psyche and then move on from there. So that was kind of interesting. Let's just go ahead and run down the rest of the card here. We had Young Bucks versus the Hardys. As I figured, the Young Bucks lost to the Hardys here. It was a very brutal physical match. Jeff Hardy, I think, hit 2 swantons in this match. One of them was on some steel steps. A really fun match. I hope this feud actually keeps on going and continues because it was a lot of fun. We had Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. I figured this would be a pretty cut and dry squash match for Jade Cargill, but evidently they're kind of trying to protect some of the up-and-coming names in AEW. I know Anna Jay's been around for a little while, but she's yet to have that real spotlight moment. This was kind of that for her. She put up a decent fight against Jade Cargill. It was sort of overbooked. Towards the finish, we had Stokely Hathaway, formerly known as Malcolm Bivens in the WWE, and then Athena both showed up after this match. Statlander showed up after this match. John Silver showed up during this match because Mark Sterling showed up during this match. Really didn't mean a whole lot because in the end, Jade picked up the win with a second rope jaded, a super jaded, and got that win over Anna Jay. Solid match between these two, though. I'm glad they gave it some extra time. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Jade is improving in leaps and bounds in the ring, as is Anna Jay. House of Black versus Death Triangle, another wildly fun match. 6-man action here. We finally saw, after what feels like a year, although I know it hasn't been that long, Julia Hart finally officially joined the House of Black. She helped pick up the win for them by misting Pac as he was about to hit whatever his move is called. What is it called? The Black Arrow? I don't know what it's called. He was about to hit his fancy flippy move on Malachi Black. Julia Hart picks up the assist there, and Malachi gets a black mass. We had the 2 winners of the Owen Hart Foundation Cup Tournament final winners thing. Adam Cole and, of course, Britt Baker. I sort of called this as soon as their names were announced for the tournament that they were going to win, even though towards the end I did feel like Ruby Soho had some momentum in her favor. So I figured that she'd probably win this, but I should always go with my first instinct, man. So yeah, Adam Cole and Samoa Joe. There was a little bit of distraction interference from Bobby Fish. Adam Cole picks up the win there, and then Britt Baker picks up the win over Ruby Soho. Fairly clean, just a roll-up win there. And I don't know where that leaves Ruby. I feel like she needed this win way more. But there is only one Owen Hart Foundation Cup. They each got their own Owen Hart Foundation titles, but there was one cup. And I probably live in the same place, so that cup will probably go in their place. I don't know what Adam Cole and Ruby Soho would have done with a single cup. Maybe they would have smelted it and broke it up. I don't know what they would have done. In any event, Adam Cole and Britt Baker. And then they had this ceremony where Martha Hart talks about Owen and everything, all that stuff. And the 2 heel participants that won this thing were both very gracious winning it. After that, we had America Top Team versus Frankie Kazarian, Ty, and Sammy. This was a hilarious match because Frankie Kazarian, you could tell this was a bad move on his part. Being frozen out of the TNT title scene along with Sammy, having to team with these two against America Top Team, just a bad day at the office for Frankie Kazarian. He was just yelling at Ty and Sammy the entire time, who just seemed to be horny as all get out. It was pretty funny stuff, though. I was highly entertained by this match. In the end, though, Scorpio Sky gets the win on Kazarian with a TKO. It was pretty funny. After that, we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Darby Allin. This is sort of my sleeper match of the night. These two really beat the shit out of each other. There was an awesome spot where Darby Allin does his awesome suicide dive out of like the second 2 ropes, and he gets caught by Kyle O'Reilly into a submission. They had tried it earlier, and it sort of didn't work, so they tried it on the other side, and it totally worked. And it was a really awesome bit. So these two really went at it. Kyle O'Reilly picked up the win here. I was a little bit surprised, but when I thought about it, I feel like Sting and Darby are going to get that definitive win over Red Dragon. And so it kind of makes sense here for Kyle O'Reilly to pick up this win over Darby Allin. Apparently, Kyle O'Reilly signed with AEW for 5 years. So maybe in that contract, he said, hey, man, I can eat some losses. I can't eat too many losses, though. We had Serenity versus Thunderosa. This was just a really, really awesome technical wrestling match. It sort of showcased what they do best. And it's kind of unfortunate that the build of this match had more to do with just a lot of talking as opposed to a lot of wrestling. I mean, I know Serenity was doing her rookie challenge to sort of build to it, but then in the last month or so, it was just a lot of talking, which just isn't their strong suit. But wrestling is really, really awesome wrestling match. We had a Fire Thunder driver for Thunderosa on Serenity to get her the win and to retain her title. After that, I had already mentioned this match. We had Anarchy in the arena, Jericho Appreciation Society versus the team of everybody else. And yeah, this was great. Mox's theme was playing throughout the first 10 minutes of this match until Jericho literally went over to the soundboard and destroyed whatever item was playing the song, the Wild Thing song. Just the camera work in this, it was chaotic. They were just switching between 5 different cameras the entire time. It was awesome. We had Danielson yelling to the camera, "I'm going to kick his fucking head in." And Floyd came into the equation. And then, yeah, Jericho got that win over Danielson after Eddie Kingston tried to light them both on fire, and Danielson got pissed off about that. Awesome, awesome match. Probably, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the main event, that'd be my match of the night because it was just wildly fun. After that, Andrade announced that Roosh is now going to be joining AEW. So two of the founding members of LIJ are now in the promotion. In advance of the Forbidden Door, we're going to get some LIJ super group team up perhaps against, I don't know, the Super Elite or something like that. Hey, that wouldn't be a terrible idea, to be honest with you. We had America Top Team interview. None of that matters. They just announced Dante Martin is going to take on Scorpio Sky on Wednesday for the title, for the TNT title. He'll lose that, but it'll be a really good match. We had some awesome triple threat tag team action. Team Taz versus, what are they calling themselves now? Baskin My Swerve or something like that. Swerve, Strickland and Keith Lee. And then, of course, Jurassic Express. Another wildly fun match between all three of these teams, which featured all sorts of great matchups between them. Jurassic Express ended up pulling off the win here simply because the other two teams sort of took each other out of the equation. And then we had our main event, CM Punk versus Hangman Page. I loved this match. I thought the character work from Hangman Page was really, really good here. Him trying to figure out, hey, I can be a bad guy too. I could be a manipulative son of a bitch. Really, I can. That's who I am. And it really wasn't. And that's what ended up doing him in. Towards the finish, there was a ref bump where Hangman got the title and looked at CM Punk and was trying to figure out, can I really do this? Should I really blast him in the head with this thing to keep it? I really probably shouldn't do this. And then he just walked into a GTS. It was a fantastic, really physical match. They were laying into each other thick with these chops and forearms, et cetera, et cetera. Really great stuff. One thing that I learned from this match is that the buckshot lariat is incredibly hard to do. CM Punk tried it a couple times, and on the second time, man, it's like his knees blew out or something because he landed the flip, and then he just squatted there for a second trying to get himself back up, and then he hit it, but it was the ugliest looking buckshot lariat. And I know that part of the story was, part of his story is stamina because he's old, and part of the whole story is, it's not his move, and his legs were kind of worn at that point, but still, it looked legitimate. I think he was actually supposed to hit it properly and smooth. That's a tough move to do. They both hit each other's finishers in this match, but yeah, in the end, he got the GTS, Punk did, on Hangman to get the title. And and then the crowd was going crazy and he was crying and stuff. But it was really cool. It was an awesome moment for CM Punk, and it was an interesting new step. I'm kind of curious. I don't know if anybody asked. It was like a super long media scrum last night. It was like a 3-hour media scrum with Tony Khan. This dude was just talking. Kind of curious, it was this, once Punk came in, was this the plan? What was the plan for post-Hangman title reign? Or was Hangman supposed to lose the title reign after only about 6 months? I'm kind of curious about what the actual plan was. I'll have to dig through the transcripts of the media scrum. It's probably Bible-sized to find that out. But it'll be interesting to see where Hangman Page goes from here. But all in all, just a really terrific pay-per-view. I seen some, comments online. Oh, this wasn't all that great. It wasn't like an all-out or whatever. I thought it was a perfectly fine pay-per-view. At this point, we're deep into the run of AEW, and these pay-per-views are coming every 3 months. We got Forbidden Door coming up next month, or at the end of June, rather. That should be a lot of fun because it's New Japan versus AEW. So, yeah, Anyways, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of Double or Nothing. Were you surprised to see MJF? What'd you think about that match? I personally felt like that match sort of undersold the big Wardlow moment, but I don't know. Maybe you guys disagree. Let me know. Also, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Let's see if she'll say anything. Bug, what's this? What's this? Nothing? Really? Okay. So yeah, anyways, check out this video right here. It's probably, check it out. Why not? It's last minute rumors for Double or Nothing. No, I'll do the other one. I'll do the Ask Steve, the Ask WrestleJuice one. Oh, got some movement. We'll see you over that video.